In this video, I'll show you how to get started drawing a residential floor plan when you have the existing exterior and interior dimensions. It's first important to know how walls are drawn in Revit. So first let's start by choosing the Architecture tab in Wall. And we're going to choose an exterior wall, brick and CMU on metal stud. I'm going to change the way the wall is viewed by the detail level right here, and I'm going to change it to fine so that we can see the contents of the wall. In this project that we're working on, we have 10-foot ceiling, so you'll want to make sure that you change this to 10 feet. It automatically defaults to 20 feet. And then we're going to look at the wall location line, and this is the center point of where the wall would be drawn. So it automatically defaults to wall center line, but you see that there are several other options here, and we'll talk about each one of those. So within this wall type, if I have wall center line chosen when I'm drawing my walls, you'll notice that the line, this blue dashed line that you're seeing on the screen, is connected to the center of the wall, and that's the entire finished wall. So when I turn the corner, you see that it's also connected to the center. Now let's look at a few of the other options. So I'm going to delete these objects here. Go to Wall. And then let's take a look at Core Center Line. And so let's talk about what the core is. So I'm going to draw a wall here. And the core is actually the structural elements of the wall. It doesn't include the drywall. So for this example, the CMU, it's a concrete masonry unit. So it's the center of that portion of the wall. And so you can see the dashed line is running through the center of the core. The next option is to look at the finish face exterior. So that would be the exterior of the building. And so you can see that we have the exterior wall right here, and the blue line is running through the exterior wall. The next option is finish face interior. So as you're drawing the wall, if I were to come down, you can see that how we're drawing the wall is selecting that finish face interior. So that's usually going to be the drywall material. And then we're going to look at core face exterior. So instead of looking at the center line of the core face, we're actually looking at the face of that CMU. And then finally, core face interior, which is looking at the interior part of that CMU, that structural unit. As interior designers, we most often will use these two right here, finish face exterior and finish face interior, because those are the dimensions that we usually receive from an architectural design firm, or when we go to measure a space, those are the finished dimensions that we have. So let's begin discussing how we would draw a residential floor plan from an existing architectural drawing, or if we were visiting a site and field verifying the space. If you were field verifying an existing home, you would go around into each room and take measurements. And you would also take measurements along the exterior of the house if possible. So for this floor plan, we have the exterior dimensions. It's 29 feet 10 inches wide and then 49 feet 4 inches long. So that's where I would start with the Revit drawing, since it's a rectangle and I have all the exterior dimensions that I need. So let's move back into Revit and select our wall type. So from the Architecture tab, go to Wall, and we're going to actually change to a basic wall generic 6-inch. We're going to keep our height at 10 feet. The location line, which would automatically defaults to wall center line, we're going to change that to finish face exterior, and we will keep chain selected. So let's begin drawing the walls. Let's go to Architecture and Wall. And I want to show you something that can sometimes happen as you're drawing a wall. So we know that our bottom wall, the exterior wall, is 29 feet 10 inches. Now look how the blue dashed line is actually recognizing that as the exterior wall, but we need the southern wall, the southern part of that wall, to be the exterior wall. So all you have to do is click on the space bar and that blue line will switch. So I'm going to type in 29 feet 10 inches. And then I'm going to come up and start to draw the east wall, which is 49 feet 4 inches. And then we know that these two are aligned, so I'll just click right there. Now our next dimension, we have that little bump out area for the bathroom. So our next dimension is actually 16 feet before we hit that bump out area. So like I said earlier, you can move your mouse along here and you can, recognize the dimensions and click there. Sometimes it's easier just to type in the dimensions, like just to type in 16. And then we're going to bump out 2 feet. And then our next dimension, the total length of that bump out is 14 feet 1 inch. Come back in 2 feet, and then we'll close there and then hit enter. Before I move on to drawing interior walls or placing windows and doors along the exterior walls, I always like to check my dimensions. So I'm going to click this measure tool, and I just want to make sure that my overall dimensions are correct. So we got 29 feet 10 inches there. Hit measure. And 49.4, we know that this is matching that area. So I would just want to come in and check to make sure that this is 16 feet. And then that we have a 2-foot bump out. And then 14 foot 1 inch. So we know that everything's correct. It's really important to do that because if you are off by just a few inches, especially on that exterior frame, you may be off on everything. So make sure that you always go back in and check your dimensions. So that's how we draw the exterior walls for this project. The next video will focus on placing the exterior windows and doors.